Stories read aloud.
Barnaby's Starry Wish. Barnaby was a small, fluffy bear with very big dreams. Every night, he'd press his little nose against his bedroom window, gazing up at the twinkling, sparkling stars. They looked like tiny diamonds on a velvet blanket, the most beautiful things. "Oh, how I wish I could touch just one," he'd whisper, his voice barely a breath. He imagined how soft or warm it might be, glowing in his paws. He longed to hold a piece of the night sky to feel its magic. He tried reaching from his bed, stretching his arms far. He bounced, trying to spring higher, but the stars stayed far away, twinkling. "Silly me," he mumbled, tumbling back onto his pillows. The next evening, Barnaby needed a better vantage point. He climbed the tallest oak tree, huffing and puffing. Perched on a sturdy branch, he reached out, hoping to snag a star. But even from the very top, they remained just out of reach. Barnaby knew only one person could help him: Professor Hoot. Professor Hoot was the wisest owl in the forest, with spectacles perched on his beak and shelves full of dusty books in his cozy treehouse library. "To catch a star, Barnaby," Professor Hoot chirped, flapping his wings. "That's a very big wish." He rummaged through inventions, pulling out a long stick with a net. "This, my dear bear, is a star catcher 5,000, he declared. Clutching his new star catcher, Barnaby journeyed to the highest peak in the Whispering Mountains. The air was crisp, and the stars seemed closer than ever. He could almost feel their magic as he looked up with renewed hope. He swung the net high, swoosh. Then he swung it low, whoosh. He twirled and jumped, but the stars danced away out of his grasp. They twinkled and glittered, but none fell into his star catcher. They were still so far away. A little tear welled up in Barnaby's eye. He sat down on a smooth gray rock, the star catcher leaning sadly beside him. "It's impossible," he mumbled, his voice small and defeated. His big dream felt too big, and his heart felt heavy. Just then, a tiny shimmer caught his eye. He looked down and saw a perfect, sparkling star right in a little puddle at his feet. It wasn't in the sky, it was right there, reflected on the ground. Barnaby blinked, surprised. Barnaby gently dipped his paw into the puddle. The star shimmered and danced, but it stayed right there, wet and real. He understood then. Stars weren't meant to be caught. They were meant to be admired and loved from afar. But what could his star catcher catch? Barnaby looked around. Swish went his net, and a tiny, blinking light zipped inside. Then another and another. Soon, his net was filled with dozens of cheerful, glowing fireflies. Barnaby carefully transferred his new, twinkly friends into a clear glass jar. The jar glowed with a soft, warm light, like a tiny constellation. He giggled, a happy sound echoing. He had caught stars after all, just not the ones he expected. Carrying his glowing jar, Barnaby walked back home, feeling light and joyful. He settled into his bed, placing the jar carefully on his bedside table. Then he looked out his window again, up at the true stars, bright and beautiful. The stars in the sky weren't just dots of light anymore. They were grand, magnificent wonders, part of a vast, magical universe he could simply enjoy. He understood that some beautiful things are best left free, to sparkle where they belong. With the soft glow of his firefly jar beside him and the silent sparkle of the true stars outside, Barnaby snuggled under his quilt. His heart was full of quiet joy. He closed his eyes, dreaming, knowing that wishes come true in unexpected ways.